What are the pros and cons of living on a man-made retention pond? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm Josh Rogers and I focus and specialize on new construction. And a lot of times, new construction is wonderful and it's very exciting. But let me just caution you, when you're in a model home and you see these beautiful models, it's easy to get caught up in the emotion, in the excitement of building a brand spanking new home. And then you look at the site map and you begin to picture which lot you're going to build your home on. And you see some that back up to trees, and then you see this artist rendering with water, and you're like, oh honey, wouldn't it be nice to live on water? That's been my dream and be so beautiful. Only to find out after your home is built that it's a retention pond with pros and cons. And so let's take a look at this retention pond, and I'll be able to point out some of these pros and cons. At the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of perspective and expectations. If you have the right expectations going into a decision like this, and we eliminate the surprises, then that's fine. It's only whenever you have the expectations of one thing and the results are different and the expectations are wrong. So this is the house, for example. I'll come up here to the lanai. So first things first, on the artist rendering, this whole section over here would show up as blue water, which sounds like a great idea. Is the view beautiful? Yeah, I like it. What are the pros of living on a little man-made pond? I feel like the water brings life. I feel like the water brings movement. It reflects the sun. And in the distance, there's a couple ducks down there, so it does bring that activity of wildlife. And it's just going to be a lot more visually diverse. It's going to make the area feel more open. If this were all trees here, not only do the trees close in on you proximity-wise, but the fact that the trees are going to be about 70 to 80 feet high, maybe 60 to 80 feet tall, that's also going to cast shadows and not bring as much light in your backyard and make it feel smaller. I like the idea of seeing the retention pond. Hey, depending on the community, you may be able to fish in there. Now, what are some of the things that you should be aware of that could be positive negatives or downsides? First of all, you can't appreciate the slope that this has, so I'm going to go down there and show you. But these retention ponds are quite deep, and they're sometimes, depending on the pond itself and the proximity, the slope from the house is very extreme. So even if this is some of your yard, it's not usable yard because the grade is so sloped. You can see, and I'm only halfway down. The other part of being on a retention pond, especially in new construction, is naturally there's going to be garbage and trash. If this is going to drive you crazy, don't buy on a retention pond. Because even with garbage day or trash pickup day, there'll be some trash that blows around. It's going to end up in the water, which will probably wash up on the bank along your house. The other aspect of many retention ponds is the grass that is along the bank is going to be bahia. Bahia is not nearly as thick and as luscious as St. Augustine grass, and you can tell the difference. This is St. Augustine, which is dormant right now because we're in February. This is bahia. Bahia is definitely more native to Florida. It's drought tolerant and it's not irrigated. So if you think that, I think in the community that you're building in, just get clear on what type of grass is going to be on the pond banks and whether or not you need to maintain it. If it's the homeowner's responsibility, because can you imagine trying to ride a lawnmower or push a mower up and down this bank? or if that's something the association is going to maintain. That could be a pro or a con depending on the answer. There may even be a little bit of erosion. So check this out. If you don't, these are all pro tips. Hey, if you guys like this kind of content, smash the like button for these kind of pro tips, because this is really good stuff that very few people talk about. If you have any other questions about things like this with new construction or the area, comment below, because I love answering your questions. Here's a pro tip. This home doesn't have rain gutters along this side. So what will happen during the thunderstorms during the summer, the rain's gonna come washing off, it's gonna hit that St. Augustine grass, it's going to kill the grass, and it's going to begin to slowly erode this slope. So you definitely want to get rain gutters. Other possible cons along these retention ponds is where the pipe system is going to be. If you're in a pre-construction phase and process and the pond's not even built yet, you may or may not have one of these pipes. This is a very small one. Sometimes they can be very, very large. This may be important to you if you have kids or if you have animals, and it could be like a safety hazard if the kids were like playing in or around it. So, and sometimes they can be quite large and they are actually an eyesore. Another time, sometimes there may be like a big drainage grate across the way. So when you're sitting on your patio, you're staring at a big concrete drainage grate. So when you're actually buying something on a retention pond thinking it's going to look beautiful, it may actually be an eyesore. So with that being said, oh, and then finally, if this is actually your home and the retention pond is over adjacent to you, you always want to be sensitive that if someone else, it wouldn't happen in this instance, but if this was a level lot and somebody built a home here, they could actually put up trees and landscaping hedges and actually block your view of that water. So if a water view is very important to you, make sure that the property line of your house and your lot butt up right against the retention pond so no one can block that view from you. Let's see. Oh, and then, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I was about to leave this off. Finally, one of the biggest cons of being on a retention pond is depending on how much it rains or doesn't rain is going to determine the level of this retention pond. So there's no guarantee that this thing is going to stay full of water. It could go up and it could go down. And believe me, when it goes down, it looks ugly and it could get a little stinky. So there's no guarantees with that either. Largely speaking, people like being on a retention pond. It is beautiful. I would say try to get one that is as large as possible rather than having houses or a road right on the other side of that. Try to get something where the line of sight of the water is longer. Okay, cool. I hope that helps with you guys. I'll see you on the other videos. And if you have any questions, just hit me up below. My contact is below. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.